Mindful of the time, I think it's probably the right time now to welcome you to this alumni webinar on building a personal brand, stories of authenticity and strategies for positioning, which is a webinar presented by the Executive Education Unit at the University of Adelaide and Dr. Cullen Hable. Most of you I may have met, but for those who I haven't, my name is Andrew Stevens. I'm the Director of Executive Education here at the University of Adelaide. The housekeeping I think that we have done, please feel free to use that. We are testing out some new software for the very first time, so please forgive us if there is any technical glitches that we haven't been able to foresee as such. This is a 45-minute presentation, mindful again that you're on tight timeline, so we will expect this presentation to finish at around about 1:15 or a couple of minutes after. So now let me introduce Cullen. Dr. Cullen Hable is a lecturer in marketing in the business school at the University of Adelaide. His interests include the practical use of social media and evidence-based decision-making in business. Cullen has spent 15 years with a background in sales and marketing roles before joining academia in 2001. So on that note, Cullen, are you there?
Yes, certainly am.
No problems at all. Well, thank you again for presenting this webinar, and I'll now hand over to you.
Many thanks, Andrew. Many thanks. I'm delighted to be presenting some of the more recent thinking that I've been doing around branding for today to the alumni of executive education. I have this semester been teaching a brand management course with a very new text written by Professor Mark Uncles of the University of New South Wales, and I have since 2003 been teaching branding in various other guises. Other things I like to do is do number puzzles that allow themselves to inform decision making for managers, generally around marketing questions. And one of the things I've seen recently, the convergence of just trying to get on in life and the reality of branding is this area of personal branding, made ever so more relevant by the fact that media that was previously only in the domains of newspapers and electronic media, communication methods have become available to all of us, and it's an old story of branding and positioning that if we don't position ourselves in the actual marketing of a product, if we don't establish a position for ourselves and defend that position, then our competitors will do it for us. And so whilst it's not a matter of marketing warfare with individuals pitting battle against each other as executive officers or as marketing officers, there is a reality that each person in industry is a brand of their own. So let me move quickly. This is designed for me as a fast-paced seminar. I'd like to quickly quickly put through a quick look at what is a brand, and of course the late and I would say great Steve Jobs is a pretty reasonable example of a strong brand. So we can see Mr. Jobs here creating a persona for both himself and his company, and we don't have to look too far to see Steve Jobs as an example of building a brand, his own personal brand, and that of his employer, which at the time was Apple, even to the point where they were dying for Steve Jobs to come back to Apple after they had made the mistake of letting him go. So I'd like to look at Professor Uncle's approach to branding, and Mark has 3 ways of seeing a brand. So I'll quickly take you through these. You know, price marks, just a name on a box. Originally, you know, the old story of what is a brand. A brand was, you know, it was an iron brand that one would heat up and put on the rump of a piece of cattle. A way of establishing a stock keeping unit. As I say, brand-free world is the economic model, supply and demand. Now, it's the job of marketers to distort the process of supply and demand, and marketers do that in some with varying degrees of success. And branding is one of those methods. So some of those examples include Tiffany and Chanel, Gucci. I was thinking of De Beers as well. Strangely enough, De Beers, a diamond is to some degree a commodity, but De Beers had during the 1980s managed to distort the supply and demand game of marketing. Unbranded products will the consumers tend to fall into a promiscuous buying on not only price but a range of different things, but purchasing from a repertoire. One of the other perspectives is that brands might be a trust mark, so a bundle of attributes that can be expected next time you buy. Sometimes it's mundane, so I'm in branding theory at the moment, but sometimes it's mundane, but it's a bit of a promise that what I bought yesterday is what I will buy tomorrow, and with the exception of some disasters such as the New Coke disaster of 1988, or I saw Primo Estate do that with changing their product. The trust marks process is one of the key ways of branding being done. So sometimes secondary attributes matter, and it tends to happen in a frequently purchased category. And then one of the other ways that these are approached is through love marks. There was a book written around love marks, you know, symbols that embody and convey meaning. You know, consumers help build the personality of the brand with, you know, with the example of Apple and Harley-Davidson. But I must say I'm not seeing a great deal of that through many of the consumer goods or frequently purchased categories. So argued to be atypical of standard branding. So where do we sit when we think about personal branding, about creating a personality brand of our own? So, you know, perspective one, the price marks perspective, salt, the commodity type area. Perspective three, the stuff of myths, you know, maybe Bang & Olufsen, perhaps Apple, perhaps Harley-Davidson, but most branding in most areas, I argue, and so does Professor Uncles, that it's perspective two. Now, I stand by that when it comes to the area of personal branding as well. But a quick look through the sorts of things and the sorts of products that are branded. Physical goods and services, no surprises there. Retailers and distributors, online products and services, all of these things are happening. This is where we are at the moment, people and organisations. You know, brand Australia, brand New Zealand, brand Barossa, brand Steve Jobs, brand Richard Branson. Used to be only the domain of Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, but my argument here, and I'll take us through some of the technology later on, my argument here is that we are all playing this game, like it or not, as individual business people building a career, working for a company or working for ourselves. We are playing the brand game, the brand me game. So sports, arts and entertainment, locations, and ideas and causes. So there's a whole range of things branded, but today we're talking in the area of people and organisations, in particular brand me.